Hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me again for another episode of Run Level Zero. I am your host, Init0, and today we are looking at Makulu Linux Unity Desktop. This is a 64-bit edition of Makulu Linux based on Ubuntu 14.04.2 long-term support. I've really had fun over the last couple of days reviewing this distro, and we're going to take a look at some of the things that Jacques has rolled up into it. I'm going to take a quick peek at some of the release notes here, some of his standout features. It says NVIDIA, Bumblebee, Intel, and ATI driver support out of the box, as well as a huge driver-based support built in. And that is one of the advantages to using an Ubuntu-based system. Their driver support is really good. Let's see. Have the complete Office suite, Steam, complete and ready. Full wine and play on Linux. Dropbox and Megastore. That's really cool. This is, I don't think I've seen a distro before with Megastore installed by default. That's really neat. If you haven't used Megastore, it's similar to Dropbox, but it's fully encrypted. So yeah, I like that. Let's see, Firewall and antivirus installed. Beautiful desktop environment, and that's one thing I do have to give Jacques credit for. His distros, his releases are always really beautiful, and I have no idea why I'm gesturing with my hands. You can't see me. Okay, moving on. Let's see, 27 beautiful wallpapers are included. Unique wallpaper changer with Conky-like features. That's going to be the variety wallpaper changers, standard on all Makulu Linux releases. Video guides right on your desktop. Makulu constructors built in. So let's keep going. 32-bit architecture enabled. That's cool. Let's see. Let's move on down. One of the things that has been discovered, and I will say, you know, I'm kind of standing on the shoulders of some others. Jeff Turner made a few discoveries here for us, so I'm going to point this out to him because I have to fully admit that I too did not see this at the bottom of the release notes. So I'm going to go ahead and make a plug here. Always read the release notes fully before you install an operating system or before you start messing with an operating system. Yeah, this is something that escaped me too, and I too was trying to create a bootable USB using DD, but it does say down here recommended application for creating bootable USB flash drive is UNetbootin. So if you download this ISO and you want to install it on a thumb drive, use UNetbootin to do that. Okay, yeah, kind of made a mistake there. So that's enough for the release notes. I'm going to fire up the system. We'll take a pause, and I'll be back with you in just a moment. Alright folks, we're back. I fired this up. This is running in VirtualBox. As always, it has 2 dedicated processors, 2 gigs of RAM. You know what, before we log into this, there's a phenomenon that I have noticed, and I just want to throw this out there. You folks that do videos, I have noticed that I can sit on my couch all day not doing a thing, and nobody will bother me. But the moment that I press record, folks start blowing my phone up. Am I the only one? Or does this happen to you guys too? I've done this. This is like my 5th take. Folks, yeah, it's just an uncanny thing that I've noticed over the last couple years doing this, that every time you hit record, either something will break, someone will call you, start emailing, texting, someone's going to try to get your attention. Yeah, okay, sorry, we're back to it. This is Makulu Linux 8 Unity Desktop. Now, I did have a version that I was playing with for a couple of days, and you know, I tend to get into things and poke around a bit. So for this, I did a clean install for this review. So this is our first login. It boots up fairly fast, but the reason I did a clean install, Jacques has included some messages here. I want you guys to get an opportunity to see this information. Okay, so we'll give it just a moment. In my experience playing with this, it runs pretty smoothly, even with just 2 gigs of RAM. So but there is a little bit of lag on this system with it starting up, as you can see. But it's not unbearable. So if you are running older hardware, you can get by. But I would recommend 4 gigs of RAM for this. Alright, so when you first boot up, you get some information here. There are a few messages I want to show you. Welcome to the Makulu Linux Unity desktop. It tells you how to run the installer. You have 3 panels to release. The top panel, which is up here, houses system icons and application controls. The side panel is the favorites and dash launcher. The bottom panel has a traditional menu, which we're going to look at in just a minute. Open applications and clock and update notifier. Okay? So you click OK, it's going to throw open another one. The bottom panel functions similar to any other panel, and I believe this is a modified version of ChairoDoc, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. You have fully functional traditional menu on the bottom left. If you open applications, you'll see them in the bottom panel, which you can see a couple of them already open here. And the bottom right, you have a fully functional clock and update notifications. Let's see, the Help Center on the desktop, you'll see an icon called Video Help Guides. And this pop-up of useful guides you can follow. And all you do is you double-click on this. And one of the things I'm really big on is customer support, especially for new Linux users, those desktops that claim to be friendly to new users. I really like seeing good customer support, and that's something that's always kind of impressed me about Makulu. They have a great website, they have good chats, good forums that you can draw on, and when a developer goes the length to go ahead and make up video guides and make them available for their users, that's just bonus points in my opinion. So good on you, Jacques. I do like that. Not enough people do that in my opinion. So here we go. Appearance has been removed from the settings panel. It's useless and has never worked really well in Unity. Instead, use Ubuntu Tweak. Okay, so pay attention to these notes. So if you want to change your themes, you're going to use the Ubuntu Tweak tool. Use Variety to change the wallpapers, and we'll walk through that. And use Compass Manager to manage your workspaces. Makulu Linux Unity makes use of a wallpaper changer. That's Variety. That's right here. Alright, we'll get to that in a minute. Takes control of system wallpapers, changes them on reboot, and you can really have some fine control over your wallpapers here. We'll walk through that in just a minute. And themes. Makulu Linux Unity makes use of GTK3 themes. You can change the themes easily using the Ubuntu Tweak in the left panel, but I believe he's actually removed it from the left panel. So we'll look at that in just a moment. Makulu updates. If you're experiencing slow speeds with updates, you can set your update server location. Just fire up the software and updates app and select your closest server. That's no problem. That's actually pretty common with Linux distros. You want to select your closest repositories. And let's see, there's a pastebin notification that opens up as well. It has installed pastebin for you. Let's see, Nautilus restart required, so go ahead and restart Nautilus. So next, and we're not going to, this has a Dropbox client already installed, and you can go ahead and sign into Dropbox if you want to. We're not going to worry about that right now. So this is it. Unity is one of those desktops that is uniquely Linux. So if you're a new user, there will be a learning curve here. Okay, if you're just coming over from Windows. But it's not difficult at all to learn this system. So as is traditional with your standard Unity desktop, across the top you have a quick launch panel. Let's see, we have your weather applet. This is the Variety wallpaper changer that we read about. So if you want to change your image, you just scroll down to image and you can go next or previous. Let's see there. It did not change for me. That's interesting. Alright. So let's go into preferences and take a look. This Variety wallpaper changer is what is providing this clock on the desktop as well as these quotes, like quote of the day type thing. You can uncheck those if you want them to go away in your in your effects section. That should have made these go away. So I don't know exactly what's going on here. That might be due to our restart of Nautilus. That's what I'm actually suspecting right now. So what I'm going to do is log out right quick, because I don't want to knock the distro on something that's not their fault. So right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and log back in. It shouldn't take but a moment. There we go. See, that Variety just changed the wallpaper for us. Things are starting back up. Oh, check it out. Makulu Linux RLZ is back. Yes, I am. Thank you for the shout out, Jacques. Alright, now let's see what's going on. We'll give this just a moment to continue to fire up. Looks like it's still applying settings. So while it's doing that, we'll keep looking here. We'll come back to Variety. But you have your clipboard manager there, Bluetooth support management. This system doesn't have Bluetooth. You have your RSS feeder, backlight control. This one doesn't have any backlights on it because it's running in a virtual box. But this is where you're going to control the brightness. Let's see. Looks like a notification area. Your network connections, your status for your email and chat, battery monitor, volume control. You have a calendar and clock, and then your system controls are right here. Oh, you know what? Let's go back into preferences. I bet you this is working now. I was waiting for that wallpaper or for that clock and quote to come back up, but I just remembered we just turned it off. So there you go. Show random quotes, show a nice big clock. There it comes. So this is, it's just a little laggy on this system, like I mentioned before, because we're only running with 2 gigs of RAM. But yeah, that's working well. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's change our image to the next one. There we go. So I just needed to restart Nautilus after Pastebin's installation. So everything's working fine there. On the left hand side, this is where you have your launcher for Unity, as well as the dash right here. So one thing I want to check, and there's Ubuntu Tweak. One thing I want to check though is the privacy. So security and privacy. Just want to take a look at these privacy settings and see. We'll look at search, and there we go. Good on you, Jacques. The online searches have been disabled by default, so if you want to turn those back on and include online searches in your dash search results, you'll need to toggle this on. Okay, but I like the fact that it's off by default here. So BleachBit's installed. That's cool. So let's clear this out, and we'll take a look at Ubuntu Tweak. This is where you're going to control your themes and that sort of thing, the auto hide feature of your side panel. I said you're really going to need a little bit more RAM than 2 gig to make this thing work properly. There we go, starting up. Yeah, a little bit too much lag there in my opinion for this system. So yeah, go with the 4 gig of RAM. We'll keep going down. Let's see, files is Nautilus. Well, that's running pretty quick. So I wonder what's going on with Ubuntu Tweak. Alright, let's keep going down. Firefox is your browser of choice. Your terminal launcher is here. Let's try launching Ubuntu Tweak from here, see what's going on. Okay. Looks like we're having some errors in Ubuntu Tweak. This is the latest version of Makulu Linux Unity. I downloaded it directly from the website this morning, and it's April 7th. I wanted to get a fresh copy of the ISO. There have been some issues out there. People, how do I say this? Jeff Lennox Turner did a video review, and he got some pretty negative feedback from that. People telling him that he had downloaded the wrong ISO. So I wanted to make sure that I absolutely had the latest ISO as well. So I went up to the Makulu Linux website this morning, downloaded a fresh copy from their SourceForge link right from the downloads. This is the one that I got. Let me come over here to it. This is the one I downloaded, the SourceForge link. So this is the one that I'm running, the one that was on there as of about, well, no, it wasn't this morning. It was late last night when I downloaded it. It was about 10 o'clock Eastern time last night when I downloaded it. So it seems like there's a couple of tweaks that probably need to be made, a couple of corrections that need to be made to the image. The Ubuntu Tweak is not launching. So that's something that needs to be tweaked. Let's move on. AppGrid is the software center. And I really like AppGrid. I did a video review on this when it first came out, and it's a snappy, responsive, modern software manager. Let's see, Synaptic Package Manager for your advanced users. You have the WPS Office Suite. Evolution Mail. I like Evolution. If you're used to using Microsoft Office or Outlook, specifically, I think you'll find Evolution to be very friendly if you're a new user. LeafPad is your text editor. Let's see, you can search software. Oh, that's pretty cool. Search for Firefox. Okay, so this is going to tell you what software you have installed. And then you have your workplace switcher. This was pretty neat, guys. He has 12 workspaces enabled by default. So that's pretty cool. And if you middle click, you get the compass cylinder going on there to show you all 12 workspaces. So I thought that's cool. This really isn't as laggy as I thought it was. I mean, that's pretty snappy. So maybe you can get by with 2 gigs of RAM. I think we're just having a couple of minor glitches here, a couple of minor issues. All right, let's take a look at this bottom panel. Jacques is very proud of this bottom panel. Like I said, I believe it's a modified version of ChiroDoc. And if you look right now, nothing is open. So the panel is kind of washed out in the area. It's kind of faded into the background. That's by design. So let's go ahead and open up Nautilus. And you can see now it's taking up space as a standard panel. We come up here and minimize this, or drop it down for maximized. A nice wobbly Windows effect going. If we drag this down to cover, see, it just disappeared. It IntelliHides on its own. So yes, that's pretty neat. All right, let's come down here to this panel and see what we have. You have a one-touch button to update your repositories, and then you have a traditional menu, and the menu is searchable. So if you just start to type Firefox, there you go. Okay, so let's take a look at what else we have in here. ClamTK is the antivirus utility that's installed. Make good use of that, folks. I won't get on my soapbox again, but you're responsible for keeping your system clean, and you don't want to spread things to your Windows users' friends. Okay, so just make use of that. I won't get on that soapbox again. Files, of course, that's your Nautilus. LeafPad we've talked about. You have a menu editor. Change your time and date. The variety wallpaper changer. Your brightness indicator. Copy queue, which is your clipboard manager. Oops. And your weather indicator. Under games, you have Solitaire, Mahjong, and Sudoku installed for local gaming, and you have Play on Linux and Steam installed for your more advanced gaming and online gaming. For graphics, let's see, we have ImageMagick, MyPaint, Shotwell, and you have a Simple Scan utility. So the basics are covered. For internet, you have Desktop Sharing Client. Let's see, choose how users can remotely view your desktop. Okay, cool. Pigeon Internet Messenger. Dropbox client is installed. Feed indicator, RSS feed. Okay, so here's your RSS feed. Firefox web browser. There's a button here to install Netflix. Again, you have MegaSync, which we talked about a little while ago. That's pretty cool. That's fully encrypted file sharing via the cloud. Deluge for your BitTorrent client, and Qtox. For Office, you have the WPS Office Suite. Osmo is installed for your personal organizer, and Evolution Mail Client. Let's see. Sound and video, you have Audacious for your music, VLC Media Player, Kazam for screenshots and screencasting, Radio Tray for your internet radio client, Brasero for your optical media. Let's see, we have Audacious QT interface. Okay. Minitube for your standalone YouTube client, and another link to Qtox. For Sundry, dconf editor is installed. Folks, if you're a new user, be careful with dconf editor because you can thoroughly hose your system. This would be the equivalent of playing around in the registry almost in Windows. Kind of not the same, but kind of the equivalent of how badly you can damage your system if you're not careful with that. Again, desktop sharing, network communications, power statistics. Let's take a look at that. Okay. Yeah, pretty neat. All right. System settings, again, your firewall configuration. Just a note about firewalls. This is uncomplicated firewall. It's the standard firewall client for Linux. It's very effective, but when you get it, just because it's installed on every distro that I've seen with this firewall installed, it's always off by default. So you just need to open up the client, hit this little toggle, and it'll turn it on. For your average user, leaving it with the default settings will be enough. And this firewall for a Linux user is actually going to be more important to you for your personal system than the antivirus. The antivirus is more to protect others. The firewall is to protect you. Alright, let's see what we have here. Here's another link to Ubuntu Tweak. Let's see. Yeah, it's still crashing out. Okay. But then again, looks like there are updates that are waiting to come in. Some security updates, Audacious, MyPaint, Makulu hotfixes for Unity. So maybe some of that might be in there. So folks, you want to go ahead and update the system when you first get it. There are some security fixes waiting, and looks like Jacques has some Makulu hotfixes. So what we'll do is we'll finish up this review. I'll apply these changes, and then we'll come back and see if it's fixed some of the stuff there. Let's go back to here, System Tools. You have BleachBit installed. Awesome. I am a big proponent of using BleachBit on a regular basis. Here's your Cairo doc utilities, Makulu constructor for if you want to install this system and then change it, change the wallpaper, change it the way it reacts, the way it looks, then you can where do we go? Then you can go back and repackage it into a new installable live CD using this Makulu constructor. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, you have your system settings. Nautilus Actions Configuration Tool. Nautilus is a very powerful file manager, and you can configure a lot of custom right-click interactions right from here. Let's see, MegaSync, System Profiler and Benchmark utility, your PPA manager, and UNetbootin is installed. Let's see, Universal Access, okay, Virtual Keyboard, utilities. Let's see, disk usage analyzer, and just some basic stuff in here. Screenshot. Let's take a look at the system monitor. Alright. So it's only taking up 5 gig on the hard drive. That's pretty cool. Okay. Let's see. Wine is installed, of course. Wine and Wine Tricks. So yeah, in my opinion, it's actually a pretty good install. I really haven't had any issues with it apart from Ubuntu Tweak. It's run very well for me, been pretty smooth. What I thought was some lag earlier was, I think, just the error with Ubuntu Tweak. Variety does lag just a little bit. So, but you know what? I'm running this as if it's on an old system. 2 gigs of RAM, 2 dedicated processors, and it's still functioning well. And like I said, I really haven't had any issues with it apart from that Ubuntu Tweak. So what I'm going to do now is pause the video. I'm going to install these updates, and we'll come back real quick and see if this has actually corrected some of the problems. Okay? Be back in just a minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Here we go. I did install those updates like we discussed. I've just rebooted the system. Just logged back in. You can see the settings are still applying. And the first thing we get is an informational update. I like that Jacques does this. Update came in, a Makulu Linux hotfix, as we saw from the list earlier. And now we get this information, Makulu Linux Unity Tweak update. Seems some users are having problems with Ubuntu Tweak. Makulu will now add Unity Tweak tool to your system instead. You can now make use of Unity Tweak to change themes and other settings in Unity. If asked, enter your password, please. It should ask your password once when updating and a second time when cleaning up. Okay. So, it's going to launch the installer for us now. Give it the password. Alright folks, the application has installed. This is pretty cool. Neat little touch on the traditional menu here. It's detected that we have installed a new application and wants to know, do we want to launch it. So yeah, let's go ahead and launch it. There we go. There's our Unity Twink tool. You know, I like these icons. This is really pretty cool. Alright. So, here we go. Now from here you'll be able to manage your hot corners, you know, change your themes right here. And Jacques has done a really good job of installing several default themes for you. Your GTK, window decorations, several choices of icons, cursors, you have your window controls, where do you want to show it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So it looks like there was an issue with Ubuntu Tweak after all, so Jeff was right about that. But you know what? I'm really impressed that Jacques, you know, within, what, 24, 36 hours of the problem being discovered, he already has a patch out for it to fix it. So that's a good note for you guys. If you install this, go ahead and apply the updates before you start using it. So I am impressed by the level of service and support that we're receiving from Makulu, especially considering that it's a one-man shop. I mean, that's a lot to keep up with. All right, folks. So would I recommend it? Sure. If you're a new Linux user, this would be a friendly environment to come into. If you're looking for something non-traditional that's not like other operating systems that you're moving away from, this is a decidedly Linux environment. But it's friendly, and it's pretty safe to poke around in and learn how to do things the Linux way. You're going to be exposed to just about everything here. There's a Compass settings manager to control your desktop effects. That's all right. So yeah, folks, I would recommend it. Yeah, give it a try. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or comment. I know I went kind of long today, but there was a lot to see. Thank you for joining me today. And I hope to be with you soon for another video.